Chie Satonaka Midnight Fighter is a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1800 attack, 1000 defense, and the following effects. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls with higher attack than this card. Destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn you activate and resolve this effect. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflicts 500 damage to your opponent. If this card you control is destroyed, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Midnight Fighter monster from your deck, except Chie Satonaka Midnight Fighter. Homura Akemi Puella Magica Outcast is a level 4 Dark Spellcaster monster with 1600 attack, 1200 defense, and the following effects. Once per turn, you can discard one card. Add one Puella Magica spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, quick effect, you can place one time counter on this card. During the end phase of the turn this effect was activated, you can remove one time counter from this card. Skip your opponent's next battle phase. Once per turn, if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Dark Spellcaster monster, you can shuffle this card into your deck. Draw one card. Madoka Kaname Puella Magica Hopeful is a level 4 light spellcaster monster with 1500 attack, 1300 defense, and the following effects. If you control a Puella Magica monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can place one spell counter on each face-up Puella Magica monster you control. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one light spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. You must control no monsters to activate and resolve this effect. Mami Tomoe Puella Magica Veteran is a level 5 light spellcaster monster with 2000 attack, 1700 defense, and the following effects. If this card is summoned, you can place two spell counters on it. Once per turn, you can remove one spell counter from this card. Destroy one monster your opponent controls. If this card you control is destroyed, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Puella Magica monster from your deck or graveyard. Risei Kujikawa Midnight Fighter is a level 3 light psychic tuner monster with 500 attack, 1500 defense, and the following effects. Once per turn, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, add one excavated spell or trap to your hand, then place the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. If you control a Midnight Fighter monster with a different name, your opponents cannot target monsters you control with card effects, except this one. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can draw one card. You can only control one Risei Kujikawa Midnight Fighter. Risei Tadeza Tactical Barista is a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1800 attack, 1200 defense, and the following effects. If this card is summoned, you can add one level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except Risei Tadeza Tactical Barista. Once per turn, you can target one other warrior monster you control. Until the end phase, it gains 500 attack. Also, it cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add one The Warrior Returning Alive or one Assault Armor from your deck or graveyards to your hand. Sonya Stoic Assassin is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1700 attack, 1200 defense, and the following effects. If this card is summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Until the end phase, it loses 1000 attack. Also, its effects are negated. Once per turn, quick effect, you can banish one card from your hand. Destroy one monster on the field with less attack than this card. If this card destroys a monster by battle, you can draw one card. Strike Witch Charlotte E. Jaeger is a level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1900 attack, 500 defense, and the following effects. If you control a Strike Witch monster with a different name, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, you can return one Wind monster you control to the hand. This card can attack twice during this battle phase. If this card attacks, your opponents cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. Strike Witch Sonya V. Litviak is a level 4 Dark Spellcaster Tuner monster with 1600 attack, 1200 defense, and the following effects. If you control a Strike Witch monster with a different name, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Strike Witch Sonya V. Litviak once per turn. During the end phase, if this card was summoned this turn, you can look at one random card in your opponent's hand. Quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target one face-up card your opponent controls. That target cannot activate its effects until the end phase. Why Schnee Dust Air is a level 4 water spellcaster monster with 1700 attack, 1200 defense, and the following effects. If this card is summoned, you can place one glyph counter on a face-up monster. Once per turn, quick effects, you can remove one glyph counter from anywhere on the field. Negate the effects of one face-up monster until the end phase. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target one spellcaster monster in your graveyard. Special summon it in defense position. Devil Homura, Desecrator of Cycles is a level 10 Dark Spellcaster Fusion monster with 3200 attack, 2800 defense, requires Homura Akemi, Puella Magica Outcast, and 2 Dark monsters, and has the following effects. Must be fusion summoned with the above materials. Your opponents cannot activate cards or effects in response to the summon of Puella Magica monsters. Once per turn, quick effects, you can banish one spellcaster monster from your graveyard. Take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase. If that monster was a light monster, you can banish it instead. If this card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Homura Akemi Puella Magica Outcast from your hand, deck, graveyard, or banishment. Holy Mami, Ribbon-Wreathed Guardian is a level 9 light spellcaster fusion monster with 2800 attack, 2200 defense, requires Mami Tomoe, Puella Magica Veteran, and 1 light monster, and has the following effects. Must be fusion summoned. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, quick effects, you can banish one spellcaster monster from your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Once per turn, you can place 2 spell counters on cards on the field that you can place a spell counter on. If this card leaves the field, you can special summon one Mami Tomoe Puella Magica Veteran from your deck, graveyard, or banishment. You can only use this effect of Holy Mami Ribbon-Wreathed Guardian once per turn. Ultimate Monica, Savior of Magical Girls is a level 10 light spellcaster fusion monster with 3000 attack and defense, requires Monica Kaname, Puella Magica Hopeful, and 1 or more Puella Magica monsters, and has the following effects. Must be fusion summoned. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Your opponents cannot target this card or Puella Magica monsters you control with card effects. Once per turn, you can banish one spellcaster monster from your graveyard. Banish all cards your opponent controls. If this card leaves the field, you can special summon one Monica Kaname Puella Magica Hopeful from your deck, graveyard, or banishment. You can only use this effect of Ultimate Monica, Savior of Magical Girls once per turn. Fusion CPU Purple Heart is a level 8 light cyberse fusion monster with 2800 attack, 2400 defense, requires 2 light or warrior monsters, and has the following effects. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy one monster on the field, cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can shuffle one CPU monster in your graveyard into the deck. Until the end phase, this card gains 500 attack, also it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Fusion CPU Candidate Purple Sister is a level 6 light cyberse fusion monster with 2200 attack, 1800 defense, requires 1 warrior monster and 1 light monster, and has the following effects. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy one spell or trap on the field, cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can banish one warrior or light monster from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field, negate its effects until the end phase. Synchro CPU Whiteheart is a level 8 Earth Cyber Synchro monster with 3000 attack, 2600 defense, requires generic materials, and has the following effects. If this card is synchro summoned, you can banish all spells and traps your opponent controls, cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, if this card battles an opponent's monster, this card gains 1000 attack during damage calculation only. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Synchro CPU Candidate White Sisters is a level 6 Water Cyber Synchro monster with 2100 attack, 1900 defense, requires generic materials, and has the following effects. If this card is synchro summoned, you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. Cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target up to 2 cards on the field, return them to the hand. Ixie CPU Blackheart is a rank 4 Dark Cyberse Xyz monster with 2900 attack, 2200 defense, requires 3 level 4 monsters, and has the following effects. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can halve the attack of an opponent's monster, cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card. This card can attack twice during this battle phase. Ixie CPU candidate Black Sister is a rank 3 Dark Cyber's Xyz monster with 2300 attack, 1700 defense, requires 2 level 3 monsters, and has the following effects. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can target one card your opponent controls. Banish it. Cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn quick effect, you can target one set spell or trap on the field. It cannot be activated until the end phase. Pendulum CPU Greenheart is a level 8 Wind Cyber's Pendulum monster with 2700 attack, 2500 defense, a pendulum scale of 1, and has the following effects. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, you can target one CPU monster you control. Until the end phase, the targeted monster gets 500 attack for each CPU monster with a different name in your graveyard. Monster effect. You can special summon this card from your hand or face-up extra deck by banishing one light or wind monster you control. Cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, shuffle that monster into the deck. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflicts piercing battle damage to your opponent. Dustglyph Ice Step is a quick play spell with the following effects. Place one glyph counter on a face-up monster your opponent controls. If a monster with a glyph counter is destroyed, draw one card. If you control White Schnee Dust Air, you can activate this card from your hand during your opponent's turn. Magical Law of Cycles is a field spell with the following effects. All monsters you control gain 300 attack for each Magical monster in your graveyard with a different name. Once per turn, you can banish one light spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard, special summon one Magical monster from your graveyard, then place one spell counter on each face-up Magical monster you control. If a Magical monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can remove one spell counter from anywhere on the field instead. If this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Ultimate Modica Savior of Magical Girls from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Magica World Rewritten is a field spell with the following effects. If you control Devil Homer, a Desecrator of Cycles, all other monsters on the field and in both players' graveyards become dark. Magica monsters you control cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, you can banish one Magica monster from your hand or graveyard. Add one Magica spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Homura Akemi Magica Outcast from your deck, graveyard, or banishment, but its effects are negated. Magica Sparkling Arrow is a quick play spell with the following effects. Targets one Monica Koname Magica Hopeful you control. Until the end phase, it gains 1000 attack, also it can attack directly. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Magica card from your deck to your hand, except Magica Sparkling Arrow. You can only use each effect of Magica Sparkling Arrow once per turn. Magica Terra Finale is a quick play spell with the following effects. Activate only while you control Mami Tomoe Magica Veteran. Destroy one monster your opponent controls. Then, if that monster was special summoned, inflicts damage to your opponent equal to half its attack. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Place one spell counter on each Magica monster you control. You can only use each effect of Magica Terra Finale once per turn. Magica Time Shield is a continuous trap with the following effects. When this card is activated, place one time counter on this card for each Magica monster you control. Once per turn, you can activate one of the following effects. If your opponent declares an attack, you can remove one time counter from this card, negate that attack, then end the battle phase. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can remove one time counter from this card, negate that effect, then end the main phase. When the last time counter or counters is removed from this card, destroy it. If Homura Akemi Magica Outcast is on your field or in your graveyard, this card cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects.